Hello everyone and welcome back to the Journeyman's Journey. I'm the Old Prospector, and in this episode we're going to expand on our attainment of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, in particular food and shelter. At the end of the last episode I claimed that we had satisfied the base level of Maslow's hierarchy, when in reality I really had only scratched the surface. Yeah, I had gathered enough wool for a bed and got some raw meat in the process. While that would keep me alive for a time, it's not sustainable. So the first thing I did was to craft a second bucket and take a longish walk over to the nearest river for water. While I was there, I picked up some sugar cane as a bonus. Then with 2 buckets of water in hand, I took another longish walk back to base. Now that I had a convenient and permanent water source, I could plant some wheat and a couple of beetroot seeds that I had picked up in the mine shafts last episode. You'll note that I made the typical newbie mistake of trying to till the land before I hydrated it. Oopsie. There's nothing special about this farm, but I did want to point out that I used jack-o'-lanterns to light the garden. This is not only because it looks a lot cooler in my humble opinion, but also because the jack-o'-lantern gives off the maximum light level of 15 as opposed to 14 for a torch, so you'll have more crops at light level 9 around the clock. Also, dropping a stair into the water source block allows you to place the pumpkin on top of the water source, which you can't do with a torch. The downside is that if you get too close and have auto jump turned on like I do, you can end up stepping up onto the pumpkin, and when you step down you break the tilled dirt. Later on you'll see where I raised the jack-o'-lanterns up onto a fence post to fix that. You can never have too much wood in Minecraft. Anyone who's played even casually can agree with that. I've started on a tree farm a little closer to base, but for right now it's a short enough walk to this forest. It seemed to me that the birch trees weren't dropping as many saplings as the oaks, but according to Wiki, the only trees with a different sapling drop rate are the jungle trees. Maybe the birch trees don't have as many leaf blocks as the oaks? I'll have to look into that. Okay, so offline I worked a little on expanding the tree farm, planted the sugar cane I picked up earlier, built a corral, and brought in some cows. Face it, bread and carrots and taters will keep you from starving, but when we get into exploring the depths of that big hole, we're going to need more substantial food than just vegetables. I also dug a tunnel straight down to the very bottom of the big hole. It ends up just above an abandoned mine shaft at Y-45. For now I'm using a single block waterfall with an empty space beside it. I put walls around most of the open spaces on the way down so we're not susceptible to mob attacks in transit. Now, I know I had told myself that I was never going to use this, but it takes a while to get back up there. And that brings us to the big project for this episode, a real shelter. I've been watching a lot of other YouTubers lately, and the level of art that goes into the way they build these things is just amazing. I'll let you in on a little secret though. I am not at that level. We're not just building a square dirt hut today, far from it, but it's not going to be anything fancy. A big reason for that is I just don't have the resources for fancy right now. We can work on that later. So, the trend I'm seeing on way too many YouTube channels right now is this kind of medieval Tolkien-esque look. Yeah, it's great, but I want to try something different. A friend on Facebook posted this picture of a city home in Spain, and it really caught my attention. I like the way it's built into the hill. It'll go great with my hillside base camp, and it's not just a box with a roof. That walled-in courtyard and the balcony really add a flair to it, and there's plenty of room for upgrading to fancy later on. So we're going to try and recreate this house, and I think we'll use the old Spanish city home theme for future builds. Maybe not just old Spanish city, but some old Spanish country designs as well. Stuff like this. Now at this point I have about 13 minutes to show you about 2 hours worth of build time, so I'm going to speed things up a little. Be right back. this house is going to be about 85% cobblestone for the basic build. Like I said, we can mix things up a bit later when I have a better variety of materials to play with. Luckily, I have this big hole in the ground right now full of stone to mine for cobblestone. So there I was, just plugging away at this build, minding my own business, and the power went out. Now, normally that wouldn't be too big of a deal. I lost the video of moving my bed and my storage into the building, but I would have more or less been able to pick up right where I left off, right? Right? Apparently not. My bed disappeared. I'm not sure how long I played before I realized it, but luckily I didn't fall off the roof of the house and die. Plus, my new bed's blue, so I have that going for me. I am very happy with the way this house turned out. There's still a lot of work to be done on it, like I said, later, when I have a better variety of materials to work with. I think I'm going to stick with the offset lofts look in the back end. I like the way that looks. I might rotate them, I might not. I haven't decided yet. And the last thing I did for this episode, I've been avoiding that village up by the original spawn point. Not for any real reason, but it occurred to me that the farmers over there might have some vegetables that they could spare. I don't have carrots or potatoes yet. So I traipsed on over, and indeed, there were potatoes and carrots in the gardens. I helped myself, but replanted what I had taken. The old prospector is not a thief. Well, maybe I am. They wouldn't let me use their bed, so I stole one of their stone cutters and a blast furnace before I headed home. So where we finished today is that we've established sustainable food sources and created a shelter that protects us from the environment, meaning mobs. With that, I think we can safely say that we've satisfied the physiological level of Maslow's hierarchy, at least as it pertains to Minecraft. Next episode, we'll move on to the safety level by crafting some much needed armor for our health and personal security, and spend some more time in the big hole gathering resources, among other things. Till next time, I'm the old prospector. Look out behind you.